It's okay, it takes time.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited to be here again with another amazing guest. Thank you to everyone joining us again this week, and welcome to our new viewers. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome to Strong.
Thank you very much, Maria. I'm really honored seeing you after such a long time, and it's a pleasure having me as Strong. Thank you very much.
Daniel, let's start right at the beginning, right where your youngest memories take you back to being in Johannesburg. What was it like to be a younger teenager?
Wow, I think okay. I'll just go straight. I'm not gonna beat the bush about it. I grew up in a country called Botswana. Botswana is next to Botswana. So before we became South Africans passport holders, we been on a small country called Botswana, and then after Mandela came out, there was a transition of everything. We became South African, but I was living between the border of South Africa and Botswana. Me, I'm from Botswana, so we're living between. We're like 20 minutes away from Pretoria. Pretoria North is 15 minutes away, and then that child grew up in a part of the time where if you have to walk on the street of Pretoria, you don't have a document. We know that there are chances you might get back, you might not get back. So I'm that generation of it's white, you can't go here. It's a black toilet for black the toilet. So I'm that separate of the different parts, different whatever. And that's why sometimes when I speak with other people, especially when it comes to racism or segregation or apartheid, I don't like talking much about it because I experienced on the first hand, and some people they never learn much about it before they talking, but I can't blame them because it's education, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or what happened in South Africa is perfect. And I could imagine I grew up in a family where my father, he used to be a person who was really a person who drink, and sometimes I'll end up sleeping on the street, not just only me, but I'm talking about my mom, my family. He's a guy who can take the fight police by himself. He used to be one of the most popular guy, I mean, around where I grew up, and he was a strong man, and everything they know. They used to call him Brajo, so it's Brother Joe. So everybody, when they pass Brajo, they know like, he's that guy. When he say it's like that. But other than that, it doesn't mean that it's been a bad, but there's been time where it's been fun. You know, as a child, grew up on the street selling tomatoes, selling, old clothes. I'm that boy who used to wake up at 5:30. You find that I'm delivering what is called fat cakes. So my mom, she used to wake up in the morning, do a lot of fat cakes. That was the part of it she enjoyed because I had free to eat a couple of those for free in the morning. The only thing was the turn off when I go out in winter times because it was so cold. Sometimes I found myself not having those clothes that are meant for that, but I have to do what I have to do.
I don't want to go over all this so quickly. I want our guests to really digest what you're saying right now. So just to recap, when you were growing up, you said that you are the youngest of the second marriage of your father.
Yeah.
And
yes.
You said that your dad was, a very strong man, and that sometimes it wasn't an easy time to be young.
Even today, he's still the same. He's still the same man to talk with, but it's fine. I meant my relationship with him once I went to UK. I got a lot of counseling, and I went and studied mental health and psychiatry. That's when I started looking at so many study cases, and I find myself in the same scenario where I was in the study cases, and I end up working for NHS as well in a mental health and psychiatry. So I get a lot of insight of understanding myself, and I think it was a blessing to go to UK and live there. I wouldn't forgive my father maybe by this time. I wouldn't be where I am now.
How did you go from being that young boy with that experience to moving to the UK? What made you take that leap?
I grew up fascinated by, I remember I see, these guys on the Birmingham, I think the palace, the guards. So I used to see them with the red and black, and remember, there's a time Margaret Thatcher, she came to South Africa, and I did not understand very well that, I think it was 1980, whatever. And then I read that history about you should go to UK, and I started being fascinated about traveling the world. And during that time in primary school, high school, middle school, I mean middle and high school, I used to tell people that I want to travel the world. I want to go to UK and study and live. And I told my cousin, and I said to my cousin, listen, I want to do this, but I cannot afford, because every month I'm saving around 10 dirhams. And I need help because it's been 2 years I've been trying to cover the cost to go there. But I will tell you the story that have changed that to make it true. And it got to do with a woman or a girl who I was trying to date. The way I grew up in a family that, I'm coming from a background, I don't have much. And I used to love this girl so much. And one day we agreed that we're going to go on a date. And suddenly that day, she disappeared. But when I came out, I leave the gym, I saw her with another guy. And that day, that's when it broke my heart completely. I felt like one of the biggest losers in the world. And I blame it on my situation so bad, so bad. Like, I found so many reasons I could think of to tell myself I'm not good. See, I was thinking so many crazy things that I could think of to do. And I end up being in a mall called Melanie in Pretoria. And there was a CD which by TD Jakes was Nothing Just Happened. The whole thing was what happening on September. So that day, I think somebody find me crying and listen to this. So what I experienced that time in that moment with that girl, she explained, TD Jakes explained everything that you cannot, this is not your fault. This is, things happen in life for you so you can change, they can build you, so you can become better. And I cry, and I bought the CD. And I think the way I was so depressed, I stayed like 3 months in the house, could not go out, until my cousin one day, I was going out, but not like, I was no longer like a bubbly person who life used to inspire him so much. And she came and said, hey, listen, I hear that you've been staying in the house, you don't want to talk to anyone, you've been sitting, you just listen to this audio a lot. But at that time when I was doing that, there was a lot of things that I was doing. I have a small picture where I used to look at UK, the pictures of UK, how it is, read a lot about it. Every day I used to read that a lot, And suddenly she came, she's like, are you still interested in going to UK? I said, yes. And she said, how much do you want? And I say, I don't know now, but I can go and ask. And she said, okay, you need to go and ask. And I went, and the next thing, I thought she was joking. And I went to her work, and she said, yeah, I'm serious, I'm not joking about the whole thing. And I went, and I arrived at work, I see it, she made jokes for me. And she told me, like, you know what? I love the way how you handle the whole thing. And I can see you have changed. You are so rich in soul and everything. So, and she gave me like maybe was 8,000 rands, which is a lot of money to give. To a young boy like me to go to the bank with it at that time, So, which I think was something like 1,000 dirhams now, maybe, I think, or 900. So she gave me like 900 or 800 dirhams. I don't know. How do you calculate it? And I deposited the money, and I went and I did all the process, and it took me like 3 weeks. And I think after my birthday, between the 26th, 27 of 2006, somewhere there, and that's when I left to UK until 2008. I think I came back June, something like that, and I came back. I came straight to South Africa. I stayed for 3 months. I did cabin crew courses and everything, but I got bored after I flew 2 weeks. I said, no, I need something else. My plan was to live overseas, and then I decided to come to Dubai.
A relationship woke you up and made you realize, okay, there's more to this, and you went on a journey. A lot of young people struggle with their insecurities when they're dealing with relationships. Looking back at that time, looking back at what you remember from that experience, what did you learn in that process, and what could you share with
I
the youth?
my mom, as much as I told her, she's a woman who a lot of morals and principles and all, she instilled them in me, because back home, with some of the culture, some of the way how we grew up. Remember, for we came in a culture where if they see you standing with a girl on the street, you should know the chances that tomorrow her dad or my dad can talk and say, we saw so and so on the street. So what is your son doing with my daughter? Right? And if there's a chance that they can see you second time, now we are going really to a family and say, we saw so and so. Do you know that my son and your daughter, they are meeting somewhere else? So we know that anything can happen that to do with pregnancy. Both of you, they will ask you, are you getting married or what are you going to do? Right? That's not the case. But other thing that my mom have made, she have made sure that you will never bring any girl in my house if you're not sure with. Don't introduce me to any woman. I don't want to know what you do, but you should know. Any girl who start coming to this house and I shake the hand with, you should be make sure that it's the right person, because she's not. I don't want to see, this girl with the blonde hair. The next thing I see brunette. The next thing I see this one, or I see whatever. She say, no, I don't want that in my house. You should know it. If you bring anyone here, you should know. So I think that's what have keep me grounded, and excluding that the fact of that religion was playing a lot of roles where I grew up in Sunday school. I grew up as a Sunday school teacher for 10 years. And that kind of, my mom, she's a woman with epaulets in the church. She's a very high woman, which you cannot just walk on the street and keep on doing what you want, because it's not your name that you are damaging. And my father, remember, is that guy. If he hears that I've been doing this on the street, I'm dead. So there's nothing I can do. So I think those things, they play a role. And then actually, not just only for my dad or my mom. The thing is that my neighbors as well, where I grew up, if they find you doing anything wrong, they can take you down as well. So they were being granted permission. If I do something wrong, they can call me to order right on the spot, or I can get a slap on the spot, and my dad can be called at the same time. So my dad was not the only father. My mom, she was not the only mom I was looking at. So if my neighbor, when she come, I know she's like my mom, that. So whatever I do, I have to hide myself, or we will run away, go separate ways, so nobody sees me. I remember one day I fall down in the river, running away, so my neighbor doesn't see me without a girl. And the girl, she walked by herself, but she was not sure it's me. She came to my house and asked my mom, was like, I think I saw your son. I was in the house. Where is he? Oh, he's having a shower. And they called me. And it's like, oh, I think I saw somebody. It's like, no. Me, I was playing football, but I know she saw me. I was in trouble, but it does happen.
Amazing. So, and I do believe and that it really does. I mean, the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Sounds like what you're describing.
True.
It was a community gathering to support you through that process. How has life changed for you being outside of your home country and living here in Dubai?
You know what? I'm sorry. I might mention my mom a lot of time, because the principle and moral she instilled on me, even now I'm by myself where I am now in my house, but to bring another woman to stay with me without having that serious talk of where we going, what we gonna, there's no way I will allow that, because I know it diminishes. This is some of my mom have told me that once you bring somebody into your life and you sleep with her, you already strip so many things out of her and you. So you no longer have a good intention of what you want to do or where you want to go, because there are chances that you might destroy her life or you destroy yours. It's either you bring her into your life with one, which even you might be right or wrong, but God is always good. If you do it right, the chances you will go okay. So you need to talk with the family on a serious note. If you really love her, and you go ahead, and then it's a blessing. Even like here, It's the same thing. She will ask me, okay, you met this girl, you want to be with her? Pretty. Can she take good care of you? Forget about everything. Can she really take good care of you? If anything happens to you, you are sick, whatever, she's going to go away or she's going to be there. That's the only thing. She doesn't care, yellow, purple, blue. That's it. That's the most important thing my mom always teach me. And excluding that, she have a say, we have a say in Africa, in South Africa, we say your home is where your head lies. So which means wherever, if I come across you as a woman, and if I fall in love with you, maybe in Germany, in whatever, or in Crete, it means you are my home. That's it.
That's really beautiful. Daniel, for anybody watching this and thinking, you had a tough upbringing, you had a tough relationship with your father. You mentioned that you did you had therapy and you went for counseling, and you found that it really helped you to understand and to overcome the challenges that you've had. How did you stay resilient? Yeah. I know that's one of the challenges that we see right now, is people really struggling to convince themselves that it's going to pass. What kept you resilient?
I always know that I have a purpose in life. It might be on saving on the time I want. However, I always believe that, maybe for those who doesn't believe in God and what it might be sounding a little bit corny. However, for me, I did know deep down in my heart that I have something. No matter what happens, circumstance, I'm being created for a reason, but somewhere that I might not understand it, or I might understand it. And that gave me so much hope that in a way, I believe that one day, something good need to happen to me. Come on, the 6.7 billion people in the world, whatever. What are the chances of something good not happening to me? And this is the way how I keep on playing funny games with me, that there's something out there for me. There's something out there for me. And I hope I keep on holding on that. Even now, on some things when they go wrong, I still have the same thing, like there should be somebody out there who can help you. There should be something out there for you. This is the way how I play my games with myself when things they go wrong, to give myself a hope of something should come out of my way or come towards me to help me.
Daniel, I know that you talked about, religion, and you talked about having faith. Would you say that that faith has kept you going all these years? Or do you feel that it was bigger than that?
Oh, it's not just the faith. It's something bigger than the faith itself. But I believe faith on its own is good. But if you don't believe, most of that I totally like the way I believe that always there's something out there for me. I always believe when things they go, because it's like you as a mom, if you tell your children they want a toy, maybe you don't have money that time. You said, I will buy it for you. Give me time. You as a parent, you know that they want this. The child might bring it to you maybe 2 times, whatever. But the only thing you gave is the way that I will buy it for you, or maybe if you pass your exam, or if you do this. That thing, it makes them hold on to it because it's a belief that if they pass the exam, they will get it. And for me, I live my life this way, that if I exist in this world, I believe I am not a mistake, or maybe it might be a mistake, but I'm not just a mistake because I'm a mistake for nothing. There should be something out there for me out there that should happen to me good.
Daniel, what would you say has been the hardest challenge you've faced this far in your life?
I think the bullying part. I think every child sometimes they will go through it. I don't know, but maybe few they will go through it. But the way I grew up, the rejection I have on some individual looking at me based on my family, or based on maybe I'm wearing this kind of a shoe, I remember sometimes at school I used to be pushed on the side. I remember, there's been time I used to be at the back of the class because I don't grasp a lot. There was a lot of things, you will never make it here. So there was a lot of things that are being left out, and it killed me so bad. There's been times where I've been subject to be surrounded by boys for some crazy things. Oh man, bullying was the thing that I have, but I think it have toughened me at the same time. It have made me strong. But even if some of the guys who are bullying, they don't see it as a bullying. But I know after I did my mental health and psychiatry courses, I realized that all these things people they used to say, do this, it was bullying. But for them, it's like a game. It's like playing. But to put me in that stage where now I could not talk, I could not do things because my self-esteem from here it went to here, and it was really really painful because I started withdrawing, not being a guy who talk, who's quiet. I was not smiling a lot, so I lost so much. But here I am. I think maybe I might be one of the funniest guy now. I don't know. People they think I'm funny, but I don't know. But bullying is being one of those elements. It took me. Even the people that still don't know or understand bullying. What does it mean? I think education is something I think of teaching people. I don't mean degree or but education of some small things that we are not quite aware that for other people it might be bullying, and other people that might take it lightly. Like I did not understand about abuse, how it can come in a form of mental, it can come as emotion, it can come as physically, it can come in so many forms, and people they don't know, they think abuse is hitting people or whatever. It comes in so many forms. So same as bullying, it comes in so many forms, and people they don't know or they are not aware about it.
So what form of bullying did you experience?
I think this was mental and emotional, because the fact that you cannot speak, sometimes you have to think 100 million times. Maybe what you're going to say is the right thing, but the fact that you being called dumb, or you being subject to people thinking, or maybe your teacher think like you are the slowest kid in the class, or maybe the way you were dressing every day, because you used to have some torn shirt sometime with a hole. Oh my, worst scenario you could think of as a kid walking 3.5 kilometers every day to go to school and come back with a plastic bag. The plastic bag you get in Waitrose, it used to be my backpack. And sometimes, those things, they for us, or maybe if I go at school, maybe with sweet potato and a black tea. And as a kid, you find somebody opening a bread with butter, because that we used to see only the rich or children who their parents were doing good job. To see somebody opening a butter with cheese, it was like, wow, what is that? Let me see. It's like Ferrari, you see Ferrari sandwich, something like that. So I think that was the thing.
Daniel, how would you describe the man that we see today?
Wow. I think I still have some spots that sometimes they can get on me, especially when sometimes I try to talk with my dad, or sometimes I speak with my mom, I hear some things. I wish I can change some of the way how he influenced some of the things, and I'm working on them of the communication. It's not being very easy. If you don't know me, the first time you meet me, it might be a different story, because the way I used to dialogue, remember, I used to be put on the side, and I used to be that guy who used not to be talked, because I've been bullied so much. Anything I say, I think in my mind I'm wrong, or I can come up as abrupt person, rude, whatever, And don't forget that I lost 2 brothers with a gun at the same time when I was in university, and then that it have turned me into another man where I think now, I don't know, I'm lucky, because I could be in jail because I did have gun, but that time on my hands, knife like anyone. But thank you, God, have mercy on me. I never become a gangster or try to take a revenge like other people they do. And that it have more so many things to humble myself about life. When after I losing my brother, I changed my ways. I started refraining from alcohol. So many things I refrained. And I started watching how I talk with other people, how my temper switch on, which I still have from the streets, from growing up that rough area. I still have it. But thank you. I made the promise to myself. Other thing, after I have one of the biggest fight with one guy, I pick up a stone this size, and I was about to hit him on the head that time we were fighting. And after a few minutes, my friend asked me, "Are you aware what were you doing?" It's like, no. Look at that guy. See, but I don't start it. It's like, it doesn't matter. Look at that guy. Do you see what you did? What did you saw the stone? Look, this is the stone to pick it up. I'm like, wow. I pick it up this stone. He's like, come, can you pick it up? I could not pick it up. He's like, are you aware you're going to subject to be many, many years of jail? I'm like, no. He's like, I think you need to go and tone down your anger. From there, I changed the way how I push myself, I push people.
I'm taking all this in, Daniel. It's phenomenal. I mean, in front of me, I see a very strong and vulnerable human being. I see a man who is very comfortable sharing his experience and very humble about the challenges that you've overcome. You help people every day. You help them overcome their physical challenges, their health challenges. You work with people who probably are doing things that a younger Daniel would think, wow, they're so rich. How do you do what you do every day and stay humble?
I think one of the most discipline I have today, or the resilience, or to be able to swallow up the pains of every challenge I could think of. When I saw what was going in my house between my dad and my mom, I started waking or running 10 to 15, 20 kilometers almost every day. And I started lifting weights. And I started being a guy who ran every day. I became a guy who always became popular on the street. And I end up finding that kind of a piece of discipline. Once I start doing weights and start running, I find that I am becoming more stronger. And the pain of things when they go not the way they should be in the house, I used to know that I have something that can abstract that pain from me. And that's when fitness started. And I remember one time I was speaking with one of my neighbor. She was really, really, really like, and she spoke about, I don't like my body, blah, blah, but somewhere down the line, we talked about serious matters. And I realized that there were some things which were happening in the marriage as well, of the confidence of the body. And I started having few women around, because around me, I started training them as local school. I started pursuing that really seriously, training women, coaching women. It's like here when I rap, in Arabian branches, I used to do classes for women for 5 years, was women only classes. So I changed a lot of, even in Vision Active when I was working there, I used to teach a lot of classes where women, and then a lot of women have inspired me to persuade this more, because I was touching them, a lot of them, and they pushed me towards that more, to take it more serious.
So Daniel, when you go back home to see your family, when you look back at the place that you grew up, when you interact with people that you left behind when you went to the UK and then moved to Dubai, what do you remember about Daniel?
One of the things that I know, which is still the same about me, or I know is still clicking on a lot of people, is that if I see you, no matter how many years, I stop. I want to talk with people. I still trying to think like I'm on 20 years back, which is not, but I always love the fact that I can still talk with people, I can still ground myself, and not even someday will think I'm living somewhere or I'm something else. I am that one of the lowest guy you could ever think. That's being humble is the most thing that makes me feel like I'm still existing and I'm still, home.
I could just listen to you for hours. The stories that you're sharing with us, the honesty of the sharing that you're doing today is just so wonderful. Daniel, just before we say goodbye, what would you
Yeah.
feel, or what do you feel most grateful for in your life today?
I think, look, there are some things I know now. The world have changed in so many ways. I mean, how we perceive things between men and women. But one of the most thing that I think it will always remind me or try to make me is to be a better man. Out of all the challenges, there's nothing I can change about being a man because God has separated us as men and women. And I don't think at any time of our life, no matter what qualifications or whatever job we have or what we have, the only thing I know that I can do is to be in a position where I can be a man. And being a man, it means I have to humble myself. I have to protect those who cannot protect themselves. I have to speak for those who cannot speak themselves, but with respect and humbleness. And I have to make sure the children, the women, they're in a safe place, you know. And other thing that I could think of is to help or to give the light or maybe to give that weight I have as a man to other men who struggle with, because social media have changed how we behave, who we should be, how our lives should be on certain age, certain level. So I think being just only know that I'm a man, I'm different from women, and I can do something different from them. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I can respect them. It always reminds me that I have to be that same person every day when I wake up, and I have to be a little bit patient and a little bit softer when coming to life itself. And then women, they remind me of that, because when we speak with them, we cannot always raise our voice. That's why we have to be soft and gentle. And life, it needs you to go soft and gentle with it. But sometimes be hard, but you cannot always be hard. Be soft most of the time and gentle.
Big thing to remember. Be soft and gentle. Daniel, what do you believe is the biggest myth in relationships?
Wow. It's boiling back to the same thing, okay? And I wish men, women out there, there's a myth of thinking that if I will be educated as a man or in money, or women think, life will be better or will be okay, we'll be happy, we'll have a good relationship, no problems will come. But unfortunately, it's a myth, because I could imagine me, I never go through my problems. Would I be talking with you now if I never experienced the harsh life have gave me? But does it mean that I wouldn't be here talking with you because life have thrown so many obstacles in me? No. But so this thing, a myth of people thinking that if they reach in the job, if they reach a certain position, or if they secure a salary of $50,000, and they will have a happy relationship, does not exist. I know for myself at the age of 41, I promised myself at the age of 31, I said I would be married. At the age of 27, I postpone again. When I reach this, I will get this. But there will never be a perfect time for anything in life when it comes to relationship. I don't believe in that. It's a myth. If you find a list of maybe out of 10, you find 4 to 6 items that a person she can meet, I'm definitely sure if you're going to spend with her 10 years, 20 years to come, you will fulfill that list, because list always is misleading people. We don't marry the list, we marry people. If you marry the list, I'm sorry, you're not going to get your list. But I know that if I want to marry you, I can marry you, but your list, I'm not sure about them, because they will always change, depending on what technology bring in, like.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Daniel. And that brings us to the end of an amazing conversation. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for joining our strong journey. Keep watching again next week when we bring another amazing guest to Strong.
It's okay